the story shocked me because I never really heard about those centers before. The idea that, oh, you're gonna make so much money in so little time, it's so
Yeah.
easy.
I'm not a girl.
Keanu Reeves wrote to me one time, okay?
Oh,
Okay.
oh, did you give him money?
Girl!
When you're chronically online, you still get in these traps because you think you know everything.
So, girls, one of the most common complaints on dating sites from men is about women asking them to invest in Bitcoin. I see it on almost every profile. Don't ask me to buy Bitcoin from you. Don't ask me to do this. Don't ask me to send money. I never see it on my side as a female, but for men, it seems like it's a very common thing. As a woman, I don't think it depends on the gender actually. I receive calls for work. I started receiving them about a year ago. First, it was my first text message actually. It came from a regular phone number, not WhatsApp or anything like that, something in our area. And I was looking for a job and we're offering a job for you. I thought about it was something serious. I quickly understood it was not, because they needed something under the age of 25 without any experience. And now I receive like tons of text like that every single day. And what I think, always think that it's individual, a girl or a guy sitting in some other country, or maybe even in America, and spamming people like this. But is that true?
To groups. I get added to WhatsApp groups, to text message groups all the time. And it's like 100 people talking about Bitcoin or talking about job offers or talking about something like that. I try to delete myself off of the group as soon as possible because I can literally, you can understand right away that something's fishy. Something is not right.
Mm-hmm.
But how do they get my number in the first place? I have no idea. It's
Yeah.
Telegram, it's WhatsApp, it's text messages, it's like different types of communications, and I'm just amazed. How do they get my contacts?
Well,
Yeah.
I think
Add
that
me.
all of our personal data is sold. It's everywhere.
It's sold
so
and resold and sold again.
and yeah, so it's no wonder that someone knows you. I know that some of my friends that are on the dating websites, they say that they get this pretty interesting conversations with men that tend to be really handsome and very interesting, and they actually talk to them. Like, it's not the very first two sentences like, do you want to do this or this, but it's like they can talk to them a week or even more, and then bits by bits, pieces by pieces, they get those girls into this interesting information that they play on the market, that they are brokers, that do you want to become one? I will not teach you, but a friend of mine, he will show you everything. So I get that a lot of people are, they instantly understand that, they recognize that this is a scam, and they just, don't talk to these people anymore. But a lot of girls buy into this. I know a lot of interesting stories about that, too.
So, but let's talk about that girl who did get hooked, right?
yeah.
That girl who they caught, the people behind all of those things. And literally, this is actually the story of
she followed
this
her
girl,
dream, let's say, right? She followed her
Vera.
dream and trusts
Right.
someone.
But not only that, what the story shocked me because I never really heard about those centers before, about that type of slavery before, because I guess this is something new. This is a new age type of slavery. Whereas before, you needed slaves to work the fields, make the crops, gather the crops, do, manual labor. Now, apparently, people enslave other people to scam people out of money. And to me, this was news to me. I was like, what? They do what?
I don't think that it's a completely new thing, because when I was little, I knew that there were girls who wanted to become models that got those invitations to work in Japan in bars as hostesses with consummations. So there were a lot of scary stories also about this thing that they were kidnapped and so on and so forth. So I think it's just these things evolved into this particular topic that we're going to discuss today.
Yeah.
Yes, they did evolve, but sorry, Natasha, because before those stories about those girls the girls ended up being sold, right, into sex slavery, basically, right? But
Something like
not
this, yeah.
into like scam, I don't know, scam schemes. I don't even know what to call them.
It's a scam
Yeah.
city.
Like
It's
scam
the whole,
Yeah,
caps.
yeah.
the life changed, and that's why, because of Vera's situation, because it became international and a lot of people got involved in it, we decided to talk about this story and in general about, because we became aware of scams, we decided to talk about it on our podcast today. And this is Queens with Accents, and I'm your host Natasha.
Nadia.
And Julia.
And that's we're going to talk about this very, very dark and very real subject, and maybe we will help some people, and maybe we will spread awareness as well about the
Definitely,
subject.
because yeah, if I didn't hear about that, I'm assuming there are some other people who've never heard about that. And so if we want to start with the case of the singer, right? She was a singer. She was young, beautiful, 26 years old
From
girl. She
Belarus.
was right from Belarus, and she was in a contest like on TV. So she was not like some no one, no name person, nobody who doesn't even know, she was up there. She was known by people. She had fans. She had a fan base. So she wasn't just like your regular Joe Schmo who like just like trying to escape a bad life or something like that, right? Trying to grasping at straws, just taking any opportunity that comes her way. It doesn't seem like that. It seems like she grew up in a good family. She was working towards building her dream of becoming a singer and model, right? She was very like well-rounded. She
Yeah.
traveled before, and I think that's part of the reason maybe why she kind of gave into it really easily is because at least, from
She
what I
had
read
good
online.
experience. She
Yes,
had a good
she
experience
traveled
before in
before
South Asia. Yeah.
correct. She traveled before to Asia, and I guess, it left a good imprint on her as far as like, oh, people are very nice, people are hospitable, and she probably got paid well during her gigs that she did before, and maybe that's why she didn't really check, I guess,
Yeah.
like deep enough. Even if she did check, from what I understand, those people are scamming everybody. Like they build real looking websites, they have a really good front. They even pay for
Yeah.
your flight. They do like all kinds of things.
But even if you check, for example, when I heard about this story and I checked Myanmar, and I'm like, it's not a country that was even on my bucket list. And it's like, let me check it. I heard of it, but I didn't know about a lot of information. Nothing came. The first thing was not about, scam cities or anything like this. It came about a great touristic destination,
No,
beautiful
but wait,
sights,
but she went
nature.
to Thailand though.
The Thailand first, but
The
then she was
contractor
the
wasn't, and right, but she didn't agree to go to Myanmar. Basically, she
But
was
she
taken
went to
there.
Myanmar voluntarily. She wasn't
It was, yeah, it
taken
was
across
like
the
a
river as
chain.
others.
Yeah, it was like a chain. They first told her to travel to one place, then to another, and a lot of other people who were like in her situation, they also agreed to travel to one place, and then like plans changed, and we're going to go to another place. So it's kind
Right,
of fishy like this. Yeah.
but initially when you're like signing a contract or when you're accepting the job, right? The job was accepted for Thailand, and this is where she
Yeah.
came to. She came to Thailand. And then there they keep lying to you, and they're like, "Oh, we have to go here to sign the papers. Oh, we have to go, do this some kind of like bureaucratic stuff that we need to like make sure that everything's good with immigration or whatever." And they put you in a bus or transportation, and they take you wherever they want to take you.
Yeah, she went on a plane. That she was one of those rare cases who went on a plane, because usually, from what I've seen and from those videos, they are taken at night, in the middle of the night, across the river, because the river separates Thailand and Myanmar, and they're driven around the border city like for hours to just make people confused. She was one of those rare cases, and a lot of people blame her for being stupid. But you have to like see her background and where she came from, right? She did have this South Asian experience. She was a young girl. She was a singer, and probably she didn't, check Myanmar before, like 2 hours before she got tickets to go there, right? Because she did not expect to go there in the first place.
Yeah, and like victim blaming is always
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, because everyone thinks that they would never be in her place because they would be so clever that they will never get caught in this ring of strange things that happen to
And
other
as I
people. But
said, there's when you start googling it, it's not the first things that comes up. You see beautiful nature, beautiful sights. You don't hear when you start, go deeper. If you heard about it, then you start researching this way. You put research in different, certain position, like certain keywords. But otherwise, you're like, okay, it's a beautiful country. You never heard about what's going on about those scams, and you go. You can't just blame a person going there.
And then they lure you in. From what I can understand, they lure people in by promising them real high salaries, by giving them, hey, we're going to give you this great contract, and you're going to be paid so much money, and it's going to be like light work, type of situation, like easy money type of situation. And people normally, usually, every one of us, we want easy money. We want to work less and get paid more.
And we want to trust it so much.
Of course, like they sell you the idea that, oh, you're gonna make so much money in so little time, it's so easy. And that's how people get hooked. And then you end up in a camp, basically like a prison situation, where you're being taught to scam people out of their money.
Yes, but this is not just a camp. It's unbelievable. It's built like a city. They have shops, beauty salons there. They have everything. And during this time when you spend it, like I've heard from the interviews of other girls, they started to believe like they're living in a real world, that this is their life. It's like
okay. You know what?
Let's start from the beginning, like somewhere.
When you're saying that, what comes to my head?
What?
It's going to be horrible, but like this is what comes to my head. Big companies like Google, big companies like Microsoft, that's what they do. That's what they do for their workers.
Corporation scam.
They build like these huge cities. They're like, oh, here's a hospital for you, here's this and that and the gym, and you can use there's free snacks and free food for you. You can eat whatever you want whenever you want to. You can go exercise, you can do this, but in the end, what happens is those people are overworking themselves because they basically never leave the city where they work, right? And okay, obviously it's not the same because they get paid and they still get like time off and everything. It's not the same, but I think maybe this is where they got the idea. Those scam cities, maybe this is where they got the idea from those big corporations. And they're like, listen, if it works for them, why can't we make it work for us? And then make people believe that they're happy, quote unquote, right? Or they're okay staying here.
But let's start a little bit from the beginning, because we jumped instantly from the sea to the city, and like people who never heard of it, they like, what are they even talking about? Like, what's going on? And we talked about like Bitcoin and this girl, a singer, but where does it start and what's exactly going on, right? So in about 2020, it's not like for this particular thing, it's not a very like long running scam. It's pretty recent.
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
It's pretty recent.
I was shocked.
Like 2020, and they started from small things, small compound, like one building. They basically invited people like this for work, from whatever, and they took documents from them. They lured them in any kind of ways with money, as you said, and they took documents from them, and they basically put them inside these closed buildings but surrounded by fence with people.
Armed people.
And why is
security.
it Myanmar? Why is Cambodia is always a very popular destination? But we talk about only Myanmar today because it's too much. Because it's a country which was like, it's completely ruined by civil war. There's a lot of different nationalities who cannot share this territory, and they have huge civil war. So basically there's no government running, no legal government who can take a control of something. So there are some parts of the land which are not controlled by anyone, and where the Chinese, actually people from China, build these compounds. It's not Myanmarians. Myanmarians just probably take some money.
Because Chinese people have the funds to do that.
Yes.
It's the Chinese mafia that has the funds to cross over and start doing illegal stuff.
Yeah. And they build this little compounds that they called, and it started in 2020. It was like maybe 20,000 people. 2023, by 2023, approximate number 120,000 people. By 2025, in those compounds, approximately, probably more, 200,000 people already hold in a city look like places, as we said, with armed people and everything, hold in horrible conditions, but with stores, as Julia said, with little hospitals where they will save your life probably after they beat you to death. People, the most popular compound called KK Park, and everyone apparently knows about it but does nothing about it. There's about 60 different compounds in that park, held by different Chinese criminal groups, and they're all different. Some of them called dark, where they basically keep people as animals. They beat the shit out of them and they sell them to for organs. Other compounds are like feed their, workers, I don't know, or slaves, but I don't know how else to call them. Women basically do, if they speak English, they work with American clients mostly. Sell them Bitcoin or a Rome scam, right? Men work with women, a lot of from former Soviet Union. And they, as Yulia said, tried to make them invest into something. People sell their apartments, actually. They go as far as sell their apartments to invest in this. Their scam works perfectly because right now it's involved AI.
Right, but not only that, there's AI, that there's like, this immaculate things that you can like create this profile online that a person really truly believes that you are who you are, right? Also, they have psychologists there. Okay, and those psychologists do two things, right? Number one, they teach those slaves how to engage a person, how to go from stage to stage to stage, right? Because if you introduce that offer, buy Bitcoin too early, you might scare that person, and then that person will not talk to you again or whatever, not be interested in buying anything. But they do it like in stages where they know where the client is already prepared enough, right, to give you the money. And then they create this vision of like, oh, look, you invested $1,000 and now you have $10,000, and now if you invest more, then you're going to get more. And they pay them out, like the first payout, they give you money, right? So that you can actually feel like, oh yeah, this is a legit thing, I can keep investing and I'm going to keep getting money, etc., etc.
So people actually see it, right? The money coming to their account.
Yes, they do that.
Crazy.
Number one, the second thing that the psychologists do, they control the slaves. They control them in a way that, okay, well, you don't want to do this anymore, so then what we're going to do is we're going to like take you to the dark room or whatever, right? Whatever they call it, torture room or whatever. So they basically, it's a scare tactic. And they scare people enough to where sometimes they don't even have to beat them. They don't even have to physically do anything to them, right? But they psychologically, they scare them so bad that a person is just unwillingly, like they will do whatever they want to just for the fear to stop, basically.
Yes. And also, from what I've heard from the videos that I've watched on this topic, a lot of people from Myanmar that work, like that live in those camps, that were actually like took from the street, they don't want to get out of this because they still believe and they still feel like they're living better life than if they would just be, out there.
Well, I mean, some of them probably are living a
Yeah,
better life, right?
yeah,
If you think
yeah.
about it, right? If you're
Even
just, homeless or whatever, right? And now you have a place to stay, now you have
yes,
you're being fed. And
even if
even
you
for
don't
some
have
of
your
them,
own bed, this is
correct.
the
But
better.
then
Yeah,
for
yeah.
some of them also, if you perform well enough, they actually give you perks. They actually give you money
Mm-hmm.
to spend in those shops and those,
Yeah.
things like that. So they kind of give you that feeling of like you're not really a slave because you're getting paid, right? You have incentives, you have, this and that and the other one. And so they kind of create this illusion of you just living there and working there.
Yeah, it's imitating life, actual life. Yes.
Psychological warfare, basically.
Yes.
They
It's like
trick
Absolutely.
you're
your
under the
brain.
doom. Yes, you're like
They
under the
trick your
doom.
brain into believing that this is okay. This is
Yeah.
your job. You're just doing your job, and here we're paying you money for your job. And if you do good enough job, we'll praise you and we'll give you more perks. And you
Mm-hmm.
kind of like go up in the ranks or whatever, right? So
Yeah.
they create that fairy tale, and some people do actually believe that it's better than living on the streets, right? But for some people, maybe it is. You never know, where they got those people from. But in the case of the girl, like Natasha said, yeah, that's horrible.
She
And
was, as they said, they when they contacted the family, they asked for ransom, and family couldn't find money, so they went to the government, whatever organization it is, and the next message from that scam people, it was that she's already dead. We sold her organs, and we cremated her body. So it's and it's like also common thing, selling people for organs who don't perform well. If you don't speak well English, if you cannot, that you can buy your way out. What from you watch that video, this guy from Kazakhstan, right, who buy his way out, and you can buy your way out. Probably not always. I'm surprised they actually release him. I'm very surprised they got money and released him. But if you cannot provide money, your ransom, if you cannot perform well, you don't know English, they basically unalive you.
right.
And
Yeah.
and there's a market for your organs always.
There is a market, but then also think about it. I think the way that the guy was telling the story, right? And it's again, for those of you who haven't heard it, this is a story about a guy who also got trapped. He's an IT person, and he got a really good contract. He went to Thailand and then ended up in this camp.
Very smart guy, young.
Very smart guy, yes. And so from his story, right? And even the way that he tells the story, some people don't understand him, and they don't understand how horrible it was to live there, because the way that he tells the story is that they didn't really beat him, they didn't torture him, they didn't starve him, right? So essentially, quote unquote, the it wasn't like horrible mistreatment, right?
They tortured him once.
But it was tortured them once, but again, not with physical torture.
No,
They
no,
didn't
yes.
physically beat him, right?
Not
So
him, yeah.
essentially, so essentially what happens is it's psychological torture, it's psychological control, and he the way that he was saying is that his boss, who quote unquote owned him, right, was kind of like a milder boss. He wasn't like so horrible, he wasn't like bloodthirsty, or he wasn't like that. And I think that's part of the reason why he was able to buy his way out, even though like he's saying, his family couldn't get the actual sum of money that they actually told him.
Yeah.
So
there
he
there
bought
are
it for
some
less.
yeah, there are some, like happy cases, I would say. Like I've heard this interview with a girl from Russia. She was a model, and she went there to, like, she was called there to be a model for modeling gigs, and she also didn't say that they were beating her, whatever, but that she was living in a nicer room because she was beautiful blonde girl that could make some English videos and everything, and that a guard fell in love with her or liked her, I would say.
I saw that one.
That's how she escaped. Yeah. So, but from 10 happy cases, we have 100 or even 1,000 bad cases, and it's just
Right.
it's awful.
Right. And so what I understood from watching those videos is that even though it's a city, that city is not owned by one person. It's like a mafia person, or whoever, like the boss, right, decides to have his company, quote unquote, and they call them companies, right? Decides to have his company there, and they basically rent like some kind of like a place for his
Yeah,
company
in
to
that
function.
compound, yes, in that
Exactly.
compound,
In
yes,
that
there's like
compound. So
60 in one.
right? And
60.
so imagine that. So they rent a space and you are at the mercy of that boss. So if your boss is quote unquote, the nicer one, then it's like this guy's story where he could pay his way out even though he couldn't even raise all of the money, they still let him go. And they still let him, be free, and they didn't even take his kidney or anything, right? Because they could have
They
taken
could
one
have,
kidney, right? And
absolutely.
because you could still live with one kidney. But essentially that's, but what if you go into like the other boss's company and that boss is like money hungry and he just wants to get a, the most money that he can possibly get, it would probably be, well, in my head, I don't know how much kidneys and organs go over there, but in my head it would be more money to unalive a
Sell him.
person and
Yes,
get
sell him actually, yeah.
and sell, right, than the
By
$30,000 that
parts.
he got from his family, right?
Like, can you imagine, girls, scams from those emails from Nigerian prince that wants to give
Right.
all of his money to you, but you just have to give him $250 or $500 for a tax? They evolved in this huge and
Yes.
awful thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just impossible. And every scam evolves and evolves and evolves, and we don't even know what's going to happen like next year, because those people create some sort of awful, I don't know, it's not a book, it's not a movie, it's something wild.
They're getting smarter and smarter
Yeah.
and smarter with it. Yes.
Yeah.
Why do you think they now have psychologists? It's because they
And why-
realize they're like, hey,
and-
if we do it the right way.
Yes, and do you think AI will help them? I think maybe.
They do AI images, like when those, like, let's
Yeah.
talk about victims of the victims, like who become victims of those scam criminal organizations. And a lot of people live in America because that's where a lot of money are concentrated, right? In America, it's much more than, truth to be said, in Russia or somewhere else. Maybe not in China. China is huge, like there's a lot of money as well. But so there's a lot of men on those websites, right? And they're desperate. And they're desperate for young girls. And when a young girl contact them, they're all open. No matter what country, they just want to bring a young, beautiful. And they heard so much about like women from the Russia, Ukraine, Turkmenistan, whatever, Vietnam.
You
They
probably
heard so
haven't heard of
much.
that, but okay.
Vietnam, maybe, but maybe not Turkmenistan. But and they're like, oh yeah, my friend married, a Russian girl or Filipino girl, and they're so nice and sweet, and I want to find myself one as well. Educated, she's gonna come and clean for me. She doesn't ask for much.
But
Oh, yeah.
especially Natasha, remember how with the one child policy, a lot of now that China is facing a population problem because
Yeah,
everybody
too
wanted
many
a
men.
boy.
Boy.
Everybody
Yeah, they
wanted a
wanted a
boy,
boy.
and now there's so many men, and there's not a lot of women because all
Even when
women
I went there, even when I went there, it's already was happening, and they were
Right.
like Chinese men like wanted to like marry us because we're women and they don't have enough.
They don't have enough women, and that's a very big demand issue, right? But then also they target people who are super lonely, right? People who might not have like the best self-esteem,
Very
people who
naive.
might, right, naive, or or a combination of the above, and they know how to find them. Why? Because they're getting trained by psychologists. That's why.
Yes.
There's a guy on 90 Days Fiancé, and I know you don't watch that show, but I do. And so there's a guy, he was like, I think he's African-American guy. He's very, very overweight. So he was like on the show 90 Days Fiancé, it's when you contact to a person from another country. So he was in communication with a girl from, I don't know, some other country for like 4 years. And I think it was in Thailand or Vietnam. And he was going about to go to her. And he was like, he sent her money all over these years, but he was poor. He lived with his mom. He didn't work. His money was coming from, whatever government gave him and to his mom. So he was sending her everything he had. And when he told that girl that he was going to go, she's like,
I'm not a girl.
4 years of like, he thought he had romance because he was virgin as well. Okay. He
Oh my
thought he was,
gosh.
it's like it was everything. So that's what like sometimes type of people in that whatever whoever that was milking him for all these years for these pennies
Yeah.
basically. But it was going on for years. It was crazy just how this guy, poor guy, was crushed. But it's like a lot of people like that. It's not all
Well,
of them have millions of dollars.
and that's also the problem with it, right? Because if you're willingly giving your money away to someone, right?
Yeah.
If you're willingly giving your money away, it's very hard to like build a criminal case and get that money back, okay? Because
You can't
essentially,
from there. Yeah.
you know, because essentially they
Yeah.
asked you for money and you willingly gave it, and
You
that's
willingly-
it. Like,
Mhm.
you know, you were in your own mind. They didn't drug you. They didn't, you know, I don't know, like make you drunk or anything. So you made that decision to give that money away.
Yeah.
I know that
And,
there are a lot of careful people, but still, there's so many naive people who really think that, like Angelina Jolie or Brad Pitt or whatever, slided in their DMs and decided that they are in love with you, and they just
Keanu Reeves wrote to me one time, okay?
Oh,
Okay.
oh,
God.
did you give him money?
Girl!
Did he want some $250 just, in case on the phone?
What's funny? You know what's
To
funny though?
save animals.
I can't remember exactly how the conversation went. And no, they didn't ask me for money, but they asked me for something, and I was like, no. And the guy turned like very aggressive.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
are aggressive.
They turned aggressive
Because they're
and
poor things.
right, and they started like like something. I'm like, oh my god, block, 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 block. Like, what the hell?
You know, like I get sometimes, I'm so pissed with this look who send me people who send me offers to work, and I answer some kind of, go F yourself or something like this before I knew about it, and now I know about it and I know who these people are, and then unwillingly doing it. They don't want to do it. Like, I feel horrible, so I'm not gonna do it. Obviously I'm gonna block and everything, but like those numbers are not real numbers, so they're gonna be disconnected, so you cannot go and find where this guy is located, who it is from that number. But I feel horrible now. But this guy, he asked for verification, what I'm talking from 90 days, from verification from that person. And that person sent him pictures, beautiful pictures and everything, but she never could get on call with him to have a chat. So he never actually even had a video call with her, just was pictures. He sent money to pictures, but now they can do it. They actually have special recording rooms with the AI, with background, beautiful background. They can put whatever mask they want on your face, whatever filter, and you think you're actually talking to a real person. So that they get on the next level, and the desperate people, they believe it.
Right. They believe it. Think about it. So all of this made me think about this guy. He's a YouTuber. He has a huge YouTube account. He has a huge thing. He's actually on OnlyFans, but as a girl. So yes, and also what he does, the way that he gets views now, is he dresses up as anime girl. He puts a wig, makeup, everything, and he sits a certain way, like sort of like this.
Gosh.
So you can only see like half of the body, right? And then he covers like his arms with the wig and everything. And so he has a conversation in this type of voice with people, right? And then he like jump scares them with his man voice, and then he shows them his guns, and he's like, I'm a man, whatever. But he does it for fun, right? He does it for views, and he basically makes his money off of views. But people still would pay him money on OnlyFans, even knowing that he's a man, for his like pictures and whatever in his like anime.
Well, I think that it's a fetish, but it's not on our topic. But a couple of years ago, maybe even a little bit more, there was this case in China where a very, very ugly man dressed as a woman with red lipstick lured a lot of men. Like it was thousands, I guess, of men that had all the gigs with him. And I don't know if they really they understood that he was not a girl when he undressed. Like there was nothing done with him, but they still kept doing what they wanted to do. So, and he recorded this, and he had like tons of information and tons of videos about those men who decided that
he basically
it's an ugly girl. Yeah, it's an ugly girl, but I'm going to go and it's really odd.
they would bring
It just
they would
victims
bring
are not really
small,
victims.
right, that's what I'm saying, right? So
You can't
the
feel bad for
Yeah,
those.
the
I can't. No, it's a funny
the
thing,
victim
but
Yeah.
the victimization was in the fact that that person didn't tell them that they were being recorded, and then he sold the
yeah.
recordings. Now that is a criminal case,
Yeah,
right?
that
Yeah.
Because
is it is.
even though you came willingly and you did whatever you did, whatever acts you did with that person, that's your own personal thing.
Hmm.
But you didn't mean to be recorded, and then you didn't mean for that recording to be sold.
Right.
And but that's
Right.
how he made the money, is he was selling the recordings basically as porn,
Hmm.
and that's why it happened. But yeah, but he was not good looking at all, and I don't, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
And
yeah, people
I
still would
really don't
go.
understand. I really don't understand how those men didn't understand that he was a man also,
They
or
understood, but
they
they were
understood
there already.
after. Yeah,
Yes, but
but
they didn't
before
leave.
they went with him, like, come on. It's not a pretty young lady. It's not even a pretty old lady. It's just a man in a wig.
Just people want to get rid of their money. That's how it seems
Yeah.
like.
No, but
But
another
yeah.
thing, I think it was because he was quote unquote cheap, because he didn't really
Hmm.
ask for money. You could bring like a little gift or something, like food item or something like that, and you still get service. And that's
Uh-huh.
why men went, because it was cheap and available,
Oh, okay.
even though it was a
Interesting.
man, and even though, but then turns out that he was recording. And
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's for single person. But for those company, it's not cheap. They make as much as 30 milliard, no, it's milliards in Russian,
was
billion
it
dollars,
billion? Yeah.
$30 billion a year from Americans. Like these people, well, I don't feel bad for victims of victims, because they willingly give money at the end of the day.
Hmm.
But those people who they have plans, right? They have a certain amount. They have to people. They have to scam a day a certain amount of money to make. So
Mhm.
they have to, and they work not only on like dating sites. It's TikTok, the Telegram. You said it's like it's social media. They find people on social media. So when you guys watch TikTok or Instagram, whatever, like be aware that somebody contacts you in your DM, a beautiful woman or a beautiful man. It's not necessarily somebody who you're going to have happily even ever after. It's probably
Yeah.
somebody who wants to you be part of those $30 billion.
Mhm.
And they're beaten and they're tortured or resold if they don't make that certain amount
They didn't
they're
make their
supposed to
quota.
make. Yeah, the
I
quota.
have a question. Being chronically online, is it good or is it bad? Like, if you're not
It's never
online, you
good.
don't know about these things. But if you're not online, you don't know about those things. And when you are online and someone asks you, out, or, try to, make this scam with you, you don't even understand how's
You're
this
not
going.
aware.
You don't have any, you're not aware. You don't even have a clue about this. When you're chronically online, you still get in these traps because you think you know everything and nobody's gonna scam you, and then bum, and
It's
you
not
get
gonna happen
caught.
to you, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
like, where's the exit? Like, what's the how can we leave? How should we, what should we
You
do?
just,
Just
I guess, but I guess, you
never
know what,
send money.
it's the way
Oh
that it
yeah.
was before, like you said, with the Nigerian prince, right?
Mhm.
Use your common sense. If it feels fishy, it probably is fishy.
Yeah.
Try not to engage with someone who is like evasive, of like they don't want to talk to you, or they don't want to meet in person, right? And a lot of the
Yeah.
times those people will tell you, oh, I'm coming to your city like in a month.
Mhm.
I have a business trip in a month, let's meet up and whatever. And you're waiting for that business trip, and then they never come because, I don't know, something happened, right? Their plans
Yeah.
changed, or their grandma died or whatever. And right, but it's all like a mind game. But if something feels off, just trust your gut, and I guess don't engage.
Yeah, I guess there's obviously the general, not general, generous relationship and the real relationship that come from it, and people come from different countries, and a lot of women come from different countries and have relationship. But right now, it seems like it's such a thin line. It's probably 1% are real, and everything else, 99% is those people in scam camps who are getting beaten every day. And with women it's different. They're not just they beat guys or like just torture them mentally, but with women they also uh, abuse them, right? Let's use that word. In any ways they want to abuse them. That's what they use for, obviously, women to meet their quota and to work for them, to do what they want. And there are some even there are even children, but children probably
I
not
never heard
scamming.
about children actually.
There was like a video that obviously children sold for different reasons, for different goals. But there was a video, I think from yesterday's even clip, where among the bunch of adults there was a child with her phone. Like
Oh.
I don't know. It's like you can see those small hands with her little iPhone. She was like sleeping or something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is the child doing there? Nothing. She's not scamming. Who was she scam? The child.
Well,
Well,
I can tell you that we have this very awful scam right now. It's not even a scam. It's a mean to unalive. It's a mean to, wreak havoc. Certain people call on the phone, and when a child answers, they ask if there's grown up at home. And when this kid says there's no one home but me, they ask a child, to close all the windows, to turn on the gas, and put the phone down.
Oh my gosh.
It's not
why would they do that?
What?
Well, it's just to make us feel unsafe, bad, just to wreak havoc here, just to
that doesn't
unalive
make
a lot of
children.
kids. Yeah, it doesn't make sense in a humanly way, because even scammers, they still have their own families, they have their own dads, moms, and kids and whatever, but it feels like they strip of everything, of every common sense, of every inch of common sense they had in them, and they do whatever they are asked to. So this the scams thing, it's getting darker and darker.
From what I see, because their compounds, they grow. They build new buildings. The construction is going on. So they're not expect to slow down anytime soon. They expect to grow. They expect to kidnap more people and bring more people. And of course, most people there, as from what I heard, they're from like third world, as we call countries, right? And for a lot of from Africa, a lot from Indonesia, local South Asian countries, I mean, all nearby South Asian countries, but a lot of people from former Soviet Union come too, because they're desperate. They're desperate, and they trust in there's fast money scams. And of course, it's not just Myanmar, and that's not Cambodia. It's also I don't know if you have probably time to talk about Dubai. It's also Dubai. It's a little bit different in Dubai, but it's close. It's like people are not in a compound. They live somewhere, for example, in a hotel, but they work in construction business or hotel business, like legal work. They get very little money, but their documents are taken away, and they have to make a certain amount of money to get out of this work and get their documents back and everything. So it's like Dubai is also not that, not that pretty, not that beautiful glassy buildings in the middle of desert. It's a very dark side of it.
People will just exploit people whenever they can, like those people who have the inclination to just make money by any means possible. They will find a way anywhere. Even like in the United States, you know how when we go through nursing school, we actually have I wouldn't say it's a whole class, but it is a topic that is being raised for human trafficking. Because if you're a nurse, you're supposed to identify a person who might be a victim of human trafficking. You need to identify child abuse, or spousal abuse or whatever it is, and you need to report that to the authorities. And so in my head, when they were telling me that, when they were teaching us that, right? Because also I am rather naive. In my head, I was like, but we're not, like, we live in Miami. Like, what human trafficking are you talking about? Right? Like, how could this be? And it happens every single day. It happens. And it doesn't matter that we have, good police here, that we have, all of these people. It happens. So the way that they do it here, for example, Haiti is very close.
Mhm.
Haiti is very close. Cuba is very close. South American countries are very close. And a lot of the times it would be actually relatives of those people who do that to them. So the relatives of those people will legally make them come into the country, like, get their way in, and
Mm-hmm.
they tell them, oh, come, I'll help you, and I'll find you a job, I'll find you this, I'll find you that. So those people, they come into their home, they take away their papers, and they make them slaves in their own home.
Mhm.
And because they don't know the language, they don't know where to go to, they're afraid of being deported, they're afraid of doing anything, they end up being slaves
Yes.
for,
Because like
their own
relatives,
relatives.
Yeah,
can be
wow.
your worst enemy. Do you remember we talked about relatives that made their young nieces and people into the cult, skapci,
Right.
because they
Uh-huh.
couldn't get their own children, so they kidnapped their own relatives. So it is just, it's wild, it's still wild, but that was it, like in 19th century. Now it is 21st and nothing changed.
Nothing is
Yeah.
changing, no,
No.
because people will just find, weaknesses. People will find weaknesses and they will exploit those weaknesses, both in the victims of the people who fall victim, right? And
Yeah.
in the slaves that they enslave. They just find those weaknesses and they will say, okay, well, that person is money hungry. They want like a good contract. That's
Mhm.
how I'm going to get them in. And this person is desperate for love. So I'm going to, make them talk and
Yeah.
scam the money out of them.
Yeah, even get in those scams, like for that job, some people like think that they're smarter than others and they need verification, so they talk in those chats,
Mhm.
and they actually talk to actual people, and those actual people say, "Oh, that's actually great place to work. Look at my office. I've been here for like
Yeah.
5 years. I get money. I live." Good life, so you come as well here. And those are people who are living in those camps and who are supposed to say this, and maybe it's even their way out, scam their
Mm-hmm.
own people, sometimes even their own friends. And they say, okay, if you cannot pay, then bring, for example, 10 more people and we'll let you go. And they will go for it. They will
Mm-hmm.
betray other people, even
Mm-hmm.
their friends, just to get
Mm-hmm.
out of that
Just to get
situation.
out of there. Yeah.
Yeah, and the
I wonder,
people
I
trust
wonder,
them.
yeah, I wonder for how much more time they will need actual humans for that kind of talks, because AI is so evolved already. Like we have
Mm-hmm.
ads made
Mm-hmm.
just with
By
AI.
AI. Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have even like films and TV series. We
Mm-hmm.
in Russia we have this TV series, like it's four I think 4 episodes or something like this. It makes completely with this. So for how long will they need just a real human for that?
Yeah.
Will it evolve into just trafficking organs and everything? Will it get even darker?
Yeah, maybe maybe if maybe they will, because there's people who do scam jobs, but also
Hmm.
people who do physical jobs, right?
Yes.
So maybe they will use them for physical labor where the robots cannot, which robots cannot do, and for dark market, so for their parts.
And
Um,
from the video that we watched about the guy, right, who did ended up
Hmm.
escaping.
yeah,
He was saying at the end, like the way that he escaped, right? He said, well, my family already paid the money, but some of the people got out with the armed forces from Myanmar.
yeah,
So he was saying that the armed forces would actually enter the city, and actually there was a war going on,
Oh.
yeah.
and
Hmm.
like actively, right? Because they were
Civil war,
fighting
yeah.
and trying to get people out,
Okay, yeah.
right? But in my head, I didn't understand, why is it that he didn't want to leave with
Yeah,
those armed forces?
yeah.
Even
Me
even if
either.
he paid, there was no guarantee that they will actually let him go, right?
Yeah,
Where was the guarantee that they wouldn't just keep the money and just throw him away, or like throw him away for organs and whatever. In my head, I was like, if there's an army coming to rescue me, I will go with the army, right? It
I
doesn't
had the
matter if
same
I paid or
question.
not.
Maybe he
It
I
was
was
didn't.
so
afraid that
weird
this
to
is
me.
just a different gang, that he would be
Yeah,
taken
he
away
didn't
to another
explain.
camp or whatever.
I don't know, but
Maybe.
that's still kind of like, it is in my head, I'm like, that did not make any sense whatsoever. But I do see how Myanmar being such a small country, how they have difficulties controlling that city, and how that city just prospers because they don't have the money, the means, the people to
The government, basically. They don't have,
exactly
they have nothing.
to control that city, and that city is, you know, filled with arms and everything, and they bring people from outside of the country, trained military people, to guard the compound. So
Yeah.
essentially, I'm like, yeah, but then how come like China is not doing anything about it? China's like, whatever.
It's a big country.
Yeah.
It has its own problems. A lot of its own
They
problems.
don't
It
care.
doesn't. It's not on the
They
radar.
probably
I
pay.
think. Yeah.
They probably pay
Understandably.
something,
They probably
right?
pay too, right?
Mhm.
They, yeah. So it's
Bribing.
just like it's a
Yeah.
whole new, you know, like I was like blown away. I was literally blown away with the whole concept. Like,
And
number
how
one, who
fresh
came
it
up with
is.
it? Who
Yeah.
came up with it, right? Who keeps running it? And nobody's really doing anything about it, right? There's the only reason we found out about Vera is because she was someone.
Yes.
It's because she was a singer, she was on TV, she was, right? Because
And
it was
because
just
her parents went to, like, it's a different country. It's not like
but if it was
it's
just
Asian.
a girl, if it was just a girl, regular
Yeah.
girl from Belarus, we probably would have never heard about her.
You know, sometimes
a lot of them.
I really do.
You're right.
Yeah, sometimes I really do think that there is a person or maybe a compound, you know, filled with people who read, you know, those anti-utopian books with a lot of horrors that were you know, written during 20th century, and pick the cherries from this and then just make it real, because everything that we are living in right now, everything that we hear, everything new, is not really that new. It was somewhere in some anti-utopian book, in some apocalyptic movie or something like this.
I never read anything about this though.
Well, not about this specifically.
Yeah, not the
This
scams.
one-
Yeah, like scam is not really gets into books about the end of the world. The biggest shock for me was when they started to talk about the dates, and they're like, in October of 2025. I'm like, what do you mean October 2025? Or like 67 people created a house in the compound and escaped. They were from Sri Lanka and stuff, and it was September 2025. I'm like, wow, this is so recent. Usually you watch videos about it and it's like 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago. No, it's happening right now. But more probably that's why not a lot of people still know about it and aware about it, especially like older generation of like guys who get, like, you know, scammed on those sites, or women who sell their apartments in Russia. There's
Right. They sell their real estate and they invest and they think they're gonna get so much money back, and in the end it's like nothing.
If someone asks you to, even if someone wants that amount of money from you, that you have to sell your apartment that you live in, don't you think it is a scam? Like, can't you even
But the way the way that they do it, they don't make you do it. They make you believe that you want to do it. That's the problem.
And that money seems so real on your account.
And I can't understand that. Yeah, like, this is something that I cannot understand that, because we have this, you know, news like grandma gave like a 15 million rubles to a scammer. Really, like,
a lot of older people. Where did she get this money?
Yeah, a lot of people were saying that. They were like, what was she saving up for?
Yeah.
They're like, it would have been like the most posh oh my god, what do you call it? Like
sanitary, like a pension.
No, not pension. Whatever. When you die, what is it that when you die they do, like a
coffin?
Funeral.
Oh,
like, it would be the most posh funeral ever.
Yeah.
Because, like, what do you need that much money for?
Yeah. And I bring the show 90 Days Fiancé again. There's a guy who from Moldova who married an American girl, and he looks like very smart real guy in real estate. He looks normal. He's very like macho man. all of that. And the last show, he actually invested $75,000 in a Moldovan construction business. And now I think that he actually was scammed by one of those people because his money was gone, that account was closed, the people were blocked him who he contacted with. And when he went to Moldova to check the construction site, it was just an old house just standing there forever. That was, it's not wasn't the construction site. So I think he was pretty much scammed by one of those centers.
But you see, the scams happen even with like the things that you don't really expect. I know of people who were scammed of their money while trying to buy a house. So they were trying to buy a house, and someone called them, and after they were already like in a stage of like, okay, the next part would be paying the money, the down payment, right? Someone called them in the morning and they're like, hey guys, you didn't put your down payment. You were supposed to do it yesterday. You need to do it like immediately right now, because otherwise we can't hold the house for you guys. Like you signed the papers, but you didn't send the money, and they raised this panic in a person, right? They're like, you need to transfer it immediately, otherwise the deal is off. That's it. We're gonna sell it to another person. You need to do it right now. And they send the money, and turns out it wasn't their realtor. It wasn't their guy.
Yeah.
And the money
one of my friends did the same. They sent like about $10,000 or something.
Oh,
So they thought it was their person, but it was somebody else who got their number.
I told Natasha
but in that case, think about it.
Yeah.
It must be an inside job. It must be an inside job.
That's true. I told Natasha that we have this pretty young scam, I guess. A family or a person wants to buy an apartment, and an old lady or an old gentleman sells this apartment, and they get all needed documents. Even psychiatrists talk to this person who's selling that he wants to sell this apartment, that he is in his right mind, and he's taking this money for himself or for his family. And like, people from bank talks with this person. Are you okay with this, this procedure? Yes. People from police ask this person, are you okay? Are you really gonna take this money, for yourself or for your family? Yes. They sign all the documents. This person takes the money and gives them to scammers. And it so happens that as of now, court gives this apartment to the seller and not to the buyer, and buyer doesn't have apartment and doesn't have money, and no one knows what to do with this, because there's a lot of scams like this. There's a lot of victims in this, so we can't even distinguish who was scammed, which one of those poor old ladies were really scammed of their money and who weren't, because it cannot be true that every one of them gave their money to the scammers. It's I can't believe it. So I think that there's this new strategic plan to get the money and the apartment. I don't believe people, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. And that person who bought the apartment, they bought it legally.
They bought it
right?
legally.
Yeah.
They have
And then
all the
court is like,
documents.
no, it's not yours.
Yeah.
And it's gonna happen more of it.
Yeah, and it's because most of the time this is the only place of living from the seller, so they just cannot take it. But this seller has their family. It's like, I cannot say if it's a victim too. I can't victim blame them, but should this person's family take accountability for their actions? Like, should they live with them? I don't know. It's strange.
It's very convoluted, yes. And unless you can actually prove that they're lying about being scammed, there's no.
And what about people? What about families that they saved money, they got credit, like, and they don't have apartment, they don't have money. What should they do? Like, how would they live?
That's
crazy.
It's unbelievable. And it's gonna become worse and worse because scammers become smarter, and they create more and more ways to get money out. And with AI and online businesses, it's very easy to do that. And people go online for everything now. they try to avoid the third party,
Yeah.
right? They try to avoid real people like agents for buying houses. They try to do everything online. They try to do investments online. So it will be very difficult even for smart people and who know technology to see the difference, because it just becomes too real and it's too easy to do that. For the scammers, it's a golden era right now. It's a golden era. If you don't have any conscience, if you don't care about
Yeah.
other people, if you're a narcissist, you can live your life right now.
Yeah.
They had gangsters who unalived people and took money physically before. Now you don't have to do that. People will give you everything willingly. Take it, and they will ask you.
Yeah, you know what? I'm a little triggered by artificial intelligence, as you can already
everyone.
know. Yeah, like, can you imagine AI would invent its own scheme?
It
Like,
probably
no one
will.
will have. Can you? It
Then
might be
there's
something
really
even
no one.
worse.
Then there's really no one to
Yes.
sue. Who are you gonna sue?
Yes.
You can't sue AI.
Yes.
No, you can't. Like, okay, go. I will be like, go sue yourself. Ha 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 ha
Exactly.
ha. In the robotic voice.
That's
Oh
it.
my
That's
God.
it. If you get scammed by AI, there's no one. There's no one to sue. You can't get your money back.
No.
Oh my god.
So yeah, well,
On that
girls.
note,
Yeah, it
Yes.
was. I hope
be
it was
safe, everyone.
a
Be
very
safe, please.
helpful episode. Yeah, and there's like what things to watch for, girls. If it's too good to be true, right? If the woman is not in your like range, right? If like above your level, maybe you shouldn't Angelina Jolie, and you're not
Yeah,
the
don't
type.
trust if Johnny Depp asks you for money or whatever. Just don't.
Basically, when you're online, if anything seems a little bit off and you have your gut feeling, just trust your gut. Go and do your own research. Look if there's somebody was already scammed in this particular situation, right? In this particular business, if it seems a little bit off. If it's not people you know, if somebody contacts you, be double aware, triple aware.
Yes.
But also understand that right now it could be somebody you know as well, and they try to get money out of you and they don't care. So just be safe.
Be safe.
And
Take care of yourself, and we'll see you in the next episodes of Queens with Accents.
Bye bye.
bye, guys. We'll see you next time.